All right. I think I have described you the major areas last week. So if I recap it, these are the menu items that we have on the GIMP program. This area has the tools, and this area contains the options of the tools. When you select any particular tool, the options regarding that tool or the properties regarding that tool is loaded over here. And in the right hand side, you can see some filters. And especially, I told you, this area will show you the layers. Layers means like we are going to work with the GIMP like layer by layer, right? One layer will have some particular picture, and we take another layer and place it on the other layer and have a different kind of objects. So when the objects are in different kinds of layers, it is easier for us to manage them, right? So the layers will be listed on this area as we take them, right? So let's discuss about these tools. That is what you all need to know. So when you know how to work with those, you are given the chance of, you are given the ability to create some nice things out of the GIMP. So first of all, I told you last week, if you want to work with a particular thing, you need to have your objects or your image onto the GIMP. So like if you are going to work with a fresh work, or like if you are going to create something new, you need to have a new workspace. So there you can determine what kind of resolution that you are going to maintain and which color range, right? And you can maintain the height and width in pixels. If you want, you can have it in millimeters or like in centimeters or in inches, doesn't matter, right? So according to your requirement, you can choose the width and height, or else you can use a particular template where you can take a list of predefined templates, and you can take anything. If I take A5, I can change the portraitness or the landscapeness from these two options, right? So if you like a portrait one, you can pick the portrait and then you press OK. So it will give you a place to work. Or else if you are going to work with a image directly, you can open the image using this open command. So once you click open, you will be given the chance to open any particular image you have. So if I choose this, it is going to open. Sometimes it will ask like there are some certain options to be converted into the according to the GIMP. So it's better you give convert. If you want, you can keep the original changes. So your image will be loaded, right? So this is the image, and this is the working area we created. So if you want to create something very new, you can go with a canvas or a working area like this. Or else if you want to change anything on a picture, you can get the picture open via the GIMP, right? So these two tools. Yeah, Denuka, we are just starting the session, and we just talking about how to take a picture to here, Denuka. So like you have to go to file and you have to go to open, and then you have to find what is the picture that you are going to open, and then just click the button. So it will open a picture for you. So when you open the pictures, they will be shown over here. If you want to create your own working area, you have to go to the file and you have to take a new. right? So according to the width and height, set the width and height in pixel or in centimeters or in any particular measurement you want. And then you can press OK. So it will create a working area like this. Right. So I'm going to talk about these two tools, which is the move tool and the selection tool. And as you can see, in most of the tools, they have a small arrowhead at the edge. Can you see it? Like the bottom right corner, it has a small arrowhead. So having a small arrowhead means it has more tools inside it. If you take your mouse pointer and wait it for a moment, it will show you what are the tools inside it. And if you want to choose a different tool, which is under a list, you can right click on the tool. Then you can take the menu and you can choose whatever the tool you want. So just go to the tool and then left click. First you right click on the tool, then you are getting the menu, then you choose a particular one, then you click in on it. So you can take the specific tool you want. Yeah, yes, Sasrika. Okay, so this move and the selection. In the selection tool, there are two types of selections: rectangle selection, ellipse selection. And this rectangle selection and ellipse selection is there to select anything on a particular picture. And the one that I told you earlier, since we are working with the layers, can you see there is a new layer comes over here, right, on my right hand side? So this is the new layer I'm working with. And when I'm having a layer, at the left hand side, you will be given an icon of an eye, right? So when you can see the eye, that means you can show the particular layer. If you click on that, that eye will disappear. That means your picture is not going to be displayed on the canvas. So if you want to make it happen, so you click it again. So eye will appear. So you can see the picture. So what I'm going to do now, I have selected the rectangular selection tool. And to do a selection, I can just click anywhere I want and drag. Right? So this will do the selection. And once you have done the selection, it shows what is the scope of the selection that you have done. As well as you can change the size of the selection by taking your mouse pointer into the borders of the selection. So it will be like this, right? So according to your requirement, you can choose, right? So when the selection is done, from a selection, there are many things that we can do. The major thing that we are performing is like we are like copying and pasting those kind of selections. So same thing can be done to this selection as well. So you can copy it by using Control and the C, right? Or you can right click and go to the edit, and then you can select copy, right? Anyway, you are going to have a copy of this thing. People, excuse me for a moment. Right. So Once you have done the selection as you want, so you can copy it, right? How we are going to copy it? As I told you, either you can use Control C, the keyboard shortcut, or you can go for the edit and try the copy. Wherever that, like whenever you are going to have a copy, like when you copy a thing, you can paste it again on the same working area, right? So either you can right click and edit and start the pasting, or else you can just Control V on the place. So there is no changes has happened, but if you notice in your right hand side, there's a new layer is there. Earlier we had only one, now we have two. And it says floating selection, right? The pasted layer. So in GIMP, this is the way that the layer is going to be. It is because whatever you are pasting can be considered as something that's going to be added to the same layer, the existing layers, or it can be configured as a new layer. That is why this is taken as a floating selection. So from these two buttons, these green color buttons, if you use this anchor icon, this has an anchor icon. If you click on the anchor icon, it's going to be pasted on an existing layer. If it is click on this particular icon which has a plus mark, it's going to be added as a new layer. So it's better you add that as a new layer. All right. So now I'm going to click this. Then you can see there's a different, this appearance is getting differ once I click on this, right? So here I'm clicking it. Yeah. So there is nothing called now floating layer. It is there as a pasted layer, as well as a name is given as pasted layer. So if you want to change the name, you can double click on the layer and you can change it. Right? As you want. Yeah, got it, people? Okay. Now, even though we have two layers, we can't see two separate birds in here. It is because it is overlapped one on another. And you can take the move tool and click on the bird and take it away. Right? So I'm moving this particular layer, the top layer, where I have like taken the copy. Right? So that is how the selection is happened. So selection can be done like this, right? As well as if you want, you can do a selection as an oval. Only thing you need to change it, you have to change it to the ellipse tool. And you can do elliptical selection. Then again, Control C and Control V can be done. Right? And I have done a mistake in here by drawing the elliptical selection right on this layer. What's happened if when I'm drawing the elliptical layer over here? If I off this layer, my original picture, can you see my ellipse does not have anything to select? So be very careful before you do the selection to select the specific layer you want, right? So for that, I have to click on the layer that I need to select. Now I'm on the bird family JPG layer. So the selection has done. Now if I make a copy and if I paste it, then I'm getting another one. So I'm going to make it a new layer as well. I'm going to say it is a copy. of brown bird. Right, so like renaming layers will be a good option when you are like handling a lot of pictures over here. So you can take the move tool and you can move that particular image as you want. Right now, GIMP has this ability of considering or like selecting the layer that you are clicked on, right? And it allows you to copy in the way you need. Okay, so that's how the selection tool and the move tool works. And under the move tool, there is something called alignment. Let's see what happens. I'm going to off the very back layer. That means my original image. And I'm going to keep these two things in a random position. I'm going to take the alignment tool. And alignment tool has given me several different alignment options. Right? So like if you take your mouse pointer to these options, it will show you what it does. Align left edge of the target, align center of the target, likewise. Align right edge of the target, likewise. So if I align it, if I click this, first of all, I have to select the specific layer to do this. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, you have to select the alignment option as well. I'm going to do the selection, right? So I'm going to move it. Oh, it is not still enabled. Hold on. Ah, yes. So I can move the image. So I have to select relative to image, not the selection. So once I done the image selection, I can move it the places I want according to the facilities given by. All right, so that's what the alignment tool does. Okay, so then the foreground select tool, and inside that there are three other tools: free select, scissor select, and foreground select. I'll first go with the free select tool. Now, free select tool is there to do a selection again, right? But unlike the ellipse selection or the rectangular selection, here you are given the chance to select the way you want. It's kind of a free form selection, right? So I'm going to off these things, or else I'm going to jump to this particular picture, which it has a dog, right? So in here you can zoom in your picture by using control and the wheel, mouse wheel, rotate it to the forward, right? So my purpose is to select the body of the dog, only the dog. It's like I have selected the free select tool. So when I take the free select tool, you can see that there's a small icon beside the cross. So I can do the selection. So I'm clicking I have clicked my mouse and I'm not releasing it. So here very carefully from the mouse, I'm going to right. So take it slowly. If you want to do a smooth selection, you have to have lots of patience when you are working with the graphic editing softwares or tools. Right, so if you want, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my selection went. Let me quickly do the selection. And if you want, you can have these stopping points like this, right? Where you can select it in a diagonal manner, not diagonal actually, like kind of a shape can be applied, or else you can just click and drag it. So you can have the corners as you want. And whenever you are reaching to the starting point, you can see there is a small bulb or like a orange color spot is appearing. So once I get onto that, then you can see my selection is shown over here. Right. So if you want to change the selection, you can change the selection from the places you have placed those dots. Now again, I can do the copy and paste in, and as well as you can cut this out. But cut this out is not a very good option, because if when you are cutting it, it's cut from the original image, right? So it's better you not cut the things. It's better you have a copy and do a paste in and making it a new layer, and you can just take the dog, just the image as you want. All right, okay. Yeah, Sasrika, layer via copy. So is it another option that we can use? Or else, are you like talking about the way that we have done it? Ah, okay. Yeah. There can be, in Photoshop, there are similar options. There are some things that we can easily done by Photoshop, which is a little bit hard on GIMP. But again, the other way around is also there. GIMP has some options where Photoshop has never thought about. All right. So we can do a selection like this. So if you are more careful, then you can have just the dog as you want. As well as when you do the selection, there is something called this feather edges. Now, feather edge means now the selection that I have done has selected it in a clear cut manner, right? That means with rough edges. Once you do it with the feather edges will allow you to choose a selection with soft edges. I'll show you what's happened with the soft edges. Now I'm like increasing the radius to, let's say 20. All right, so 20.9. And let me take my the same picture, and now I'm going to do the selection. But remember, now before the selection, I have adjust the feather. Now I'm going to do the selection. Let's see how this selection is going to respond. So it is too much noise in the vehicle.
Daddy, what is that?
Can you reduce the Yeah, that's a dog scissor. I'm doing a selection regarding the dog. Can you reduce it, Susie? So here I have done the selection. So I'm copying it and pasting it. Right. So for the newly pasted one, I'm going to give a name. Selection with feather. The earlier one is just a rough selection. Right. So I'm going to off this my main picture, and I'm going to enable other two pictures, and I'll move it, and you can see what's the difference. Can you see the difference? This dog onto my left has smooth edges. Can you see that? Here you got rough edges. So this kind of a selection will do better, right? So when we are like adding things, adding some stuff together, having a feather edge selection will give you a smooth collection. Then metana tava feather edge kenek mix karot hari lassanta ඒගොල්ලන්ව අපිට mix කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? But soft hard edges තිබ්බොත් අපිට ඒ color difference එක දැනෙන ප්‍රමාණය වැඩි. Are we clear about this, people? Okay. Right. So under the free select, there is something called scissor select. Now, scissor select is another way of doing the selection, right? Let me zoom this out and keep our selections together. And I'm going to do a scissor selection for the same picture. Right? I'll take the scissor select. And look at this. Scissor select has the capability of capturing the same kind of colors, right? So its selection will be much better when you do it with a scissor selection, right? And I have enabled this interactive boundary as well, which will help us to do a smooth selection. So here I'm going to do the selection. So here I'm just taking my hold on. I think interactive boundaries is not giving me the chance to do a much better one. I'm going to reduce the feather edges as well, right? And I'll do my selection. Can you see, like, I'm just clicking on the places I want, and the selection is done in a much nicer way by leaning to the brown color on the dog. See, it's automatically captures. I'm just clicking. Right, so I can do my selection in a much better manner, because I don't need to worry about the curves and edges that is there on the picture. It helps us to do a selection in a much better way. Now the only thing is I can't find out where my ending selection is. Let me press enter and see. Yes. So once you are done with the selection, there is no like ending point. Once you are done your circle, press enter. So it will give you the selection. Now if I copy and paste it, I'm pasting as a new layer. I'm saying it's for the scissor selection. Let's see what's the different. Look at that. It's much nicer, people. See, this is the one we have done with the scissor selection. This is the one we done at the very first place. And then we did it with the feather. And now we have done it with the scissor selection. So what makes the much better selection? You can go it with the scissor selection, right? It is very complete selection kind of thing. But with the help of the feather, it will be much nicer. Right? Okay, people, did you got the idea about or like the difference in between the normal selection, the one with the feather and one with the scissor selection? Is it okay? Is it clear? Right. All right. And since I need to have more room to show my selections, I'm going to scale these selections into a smaller scales. So for that, I can use this scale tool over here. So once I click on the any particular layer, it allows me to scale this. So like just by clicking and dragging it smaller, so it will create smaller image, and I can press enter to apply the changes. Right, and I can select another layer and apply the scaling, and I can make it much smaller. I'm selecting this, making it much smaller. Now I can move these selections into a far better position. Right, and the other tool is called the foreground select. Let's see what we can do with the foreground select. I'm taking my original picture, and on my original picture, I select the layer, the original layer, the very last layer of the layer list. So when I'm having a foreground selection, I'm again given an icon like a lasso tool. So here we can just draw the selection, a rough selection around it. Likewise. Right, and you can, oops, I have ruined my selection paper. And you can come and fix your selection. So once you are done with the selection, all you have to do is like press enter. Let me show you it again. You select the foreground select, and you are just drawing the selection you like. Right. Like that. And when you come to the starting point, just press enter. And enter will make your environment, or like the selected part, it will just keep the selected part and make the rest of the selection or the rest of the image into some other color, blue or some different color. And when you are doing the foreground selection, there is 4 kinds of modes. We are finding these 4 modes in different tools as well, some other different tools as well. So this mode says this is called the replace. This is called add to the selection. This is called subtract from the selection. This is called intersect from the selection. All right. So like you can use any of the things. According to that, the behavior of the selection will be changed. All right. Now, once you are done with this, you can see you have your mouse icon changes into a icon which has a brush tool. All right. So in the brush tool, I'm going, if I choose add to the current selection, if I draw the brush tool like this, if I color it, it will add to my selection. Now you can see this area and this area gives you the same thing. And if I choose subtract from the selection, the one that I am covering will be taken away from the selection. Oh, it's really don't subtract. Hold on. Let's keep adding, hold on. Let me see what's going on. And I think some tool reset has happened. Yeah. People, I'll go through it and tell. Like some options, I think it is being changed over here. Right? Yeah, let's the foreground selection. I'll come back to it. And I'm going to this fussy select tool. It has 2 types of tools, fussy select and the select by color. All right. And this is also for the selection, and that selection is much easier than the other selections. All right. And let me take another picture. So I'm opening it as a separate one. Okay, I'll take this fox. Can it be open? Oh, yes. Now, with the fussy select tool, it is easier for me to select the colors on the same shade. Right now, you can see there are like snow is on the white, and there are different kinds of white shades over here. And if I click on any particular white, see, this entire white has been selected.
Had a bad question. No, not that.
Right.
I said, Mommy wasn't. I'll say.
Yeah, Denuka, what you are asking is like taking a particular image like the one that we like we select the dog from the other one. So you're asking how to take that dog on near to this fox. Are you asking something like that? Yes, it's a simple copy and paste input. Right, from here you can copy the dog that you want, select the selection, then you can right click, go to edit copy, or you just select the specific layer and just give a Control C and come to this selection, and you can give a Control V. Here comes the dog. All right, so it is coming as a new layer, so we can have it as a new layer, and with the scale tool we can scale the dog, and we can place him as we want. Right? Okay. And if you want to get rid of any particular layer, select that layer and go to this cross mark at the bottom of your window, and it will delete that layer right over here. Right, I was talking about the fussy tool, and fussy tool is allowing you to select the colors which has the same shade. So if I click on this white, it will select a very huge layer, like portion of white. If I click on this black, see the blacks which are adjacent or which are continue with that, so that will be selected. If I click on this brown, so the same color brown shade, if they are together, it will be selected. Right, likewise, if I click on this black, it will select. Right, so for some things it is very easier. Right, so if we want to get rid of the snow, you can just click here and press the delete, so the snow will be taken out, but you have to be very careful. Now if I take it, we'll take out like this. Right, so you can take out the selection, whatever you want, whatever you have done. Right, this is one way of taking these things out. Right? There are so many ways. Right, and if you want to take out this black area, so select it and just press the delete button, so it will delete the black areas from your image. Right, and there's another tool called select by color, and people, we can go backward by pressing Control Z, like we learn in word processing software. It will take all the changes that we have done up to some extent. Right, and the tool that I have selected now is select by color. So this is something more special. Like select by color means if you choose a layer, and if you click on some particular color, wherever is that color in your image, it will be selected. It doesn't matter what is the place. Now, earlier, when we select a color, if the colors are adjacent to that, then the same color will be selected, right? කලින් එකේදී අපි සුදු ක්ලික් කරනකොට සුදු ඒ ක්ලික් කරන තැනට සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තියෙන සුදු ටික තමයි select උනේ. Select by color, what it is doing is it will select all the colors which is similar to the place that you are clicking, right? So look at this. If I click on a black color, it will select all the colors which is similar to my click. If I click on white, it will select all the places from the image where I have white, that white shade. If I click on the brown, it will select all the browns, right? So likewise, it's going to help us to select the colors, the same colors from the particular image or something. Once after you select it, you can fill that color from any particular color you want or any particular pattern you want, right? So since I have taken this selection, I'm going to take my ink bucket. It is over here, the bucket fill, and the bucket fill will be filled from the foreground color. Can you see these two squares? The one in front is called the foreground color. Once you click on that, you will be given a color palette and you can select the color that you want. Right now, let's say I need to select the red color for this. And if I come onto the picture and click on the selection, see what happens. See, my selection, only my selection. Not anywhere else. මම මෙහි ඇවිල්ලා click කරාට fill වෙන්නේ නැහැ. වෙනවද? Only my selection will be filled with red color. Right? As well as under the bucket fill, there is something called gradient. Right? So gradient, the colors, the patterns is also given over here at my right hand side. Right now, if I want to fill something like this particular one. So if I need to apply a gradient, I have to click and drag the gradient. So see what happens. Right? All my selection is filled out with a gradient. So I can manage my gradient, taking the starting point and ending point. So I can match it. Right? So to apply this, you can press enter. And to take away your selection, you can right click on here, go to select, and you can say none, or you can use this Shift Control A buttons to take away the selection. So this is how it is after we apply the gradient. People, are we clear with this? Selecting and applying the colors. Yes, everyone? Right, great. Okay, so we talk about the move tool, we talk about the ellipse tool, we talk about the selection tools, some other selection tools, as well as we talk about the fussy and the select by tool. And then I'm going to tell you about this crop tool. Crop tool does not have any other tools inside it, it's just the crop tool. So crop tool will help you to crop things out. Right? So like cropping means like taking away the edges. So once you select the crop tool, when your crop tool is enabled, you can just click and drag to indicate your cropping area. Right? So if you want to crop your selection like this. So you can adjust your cropping image. So once you select the cropping portion, let's say we are going to crop it like this, and you can press enter. So once you crop something, the selected part for the cropping will be there and the rest of the things will be deleted. If you want to take it, you can do a Control-Z and take it back. But once you are done the cropping, the dimensions of the picture will be changed according to the cropping dimensions. Right? So that is how, and that is the purpose of using the cropping. All right. So after the cropping, we have a huge list of tools over here. You have unified transform, you have rotation, scaling, shear. We have used the scaling, shear, flipping, perspective tool, 3D transformation, handle transformation kind of things. So to do that, I'll take a new picture. So it will be easier for you to understand. So I'm going to take, I'll take this road picture, right? So it is a road, and if I want to scale this road or like scale this picture, I can select the picture and click on this. Then if you just scale it like this, can you see? It is not scaling as a unified manner. Right? So if you want to do a unified scaling, press this what we call chain kind of an icon on this small window. So which means width and height are relative now. So now it's not going to give you that kind of awkward scaling. It will scale in the natural way, or like with the natural dimension. Right? So you can use that scaling part as you want. So once you scale it, you can see you have to press enter to apply the scaling. Right? So can you see that with the move tool, I can move my picture here and there. Right? Okay, so I'm placing this over here. And the rotation. To do the rotation, I'm going to import another picture onto this working area as a new layer. So I go to the file and I'm selecting open as layer. And I have a bike. And I'm opening the bike onto this road. So here comes the bike. Now bike is one particular layer and this background is a different kind of a layer. Two layers are there. So if I want to rotate the bike, I can select the bike layer and go here and select the rotate tool, click on the bike. So it is given the chance to rotate. Now, if you have the experience with the Photoshop, rotation and selecting layers in the Photoshop are much easier than this, right? Once you click it, it will just automatically select. And on the edges, like you find in the Word, it will give you the facility to rotate. But in the GIMP, it has different kind of tools, right? So that's why I told you regarding the Photoshop, there are some ups and downs regarding this, right? And now I can move this bike onto the road and indicate as it's right on that. Right, and I'm going to scale it a little bit smaller so it will match the road. So I'm going to place it. Right, but still it is not that matching to the road. If you want to scale it according to the road, we can use the perspective tool, right? This one. I'll come to the shear and flip. If I take the perspective tool, I can change the perspection, the way that the bike looks alike, right? So if we do it more carefully, without harming the dimensions of the bike, we can turn the bike in a way it is riding on the street parallel to the road, like this. All right. So I can scale it now. Become a little bit bigger. And I can place it. Now it looks like riding on the road. Are we clear with what can we do with the perspective tool? Right. And when it comes to this shear tool, to do the shearing, I'll go to my this dog, right? Because shearing is something that I have to show you in a different way. So shear, as it indicates, it will allow you to shear like this. This is what you call shearing, right? Picture so we can do that. All right, so that is what you can do by the shearing. And flipping, you can change the sides. That is what you call flipping. Balang in the left hand batsman connect, right hand batsman connect. Flipping will help you to do the flip. Right, so you can apply the flipping. So what is that you are going to do is you just select the flip tool and select the layer you want to flip, then you flip. It's just about a click on that. Right now, if you are going to do it in the Photoshop, there is something called transform. You can do the same. You can give the same effect from that. All right, and 3D transform is kind of a different one. Then I'll take. I do have a car with me. I'll open that car to see whether a 3D transform is going with that. Yeah, so I have a Lamborghini, right? I'll place this right over here. And let me see how the 3D transform works with that. So I'm taking 3D transform. Once I click on it, it allows me to transform it 3D. See? Yeah, 3D විදිහටම හරවන්න ඉඩ දෙනවා. Right? But it's kind of a rotation, people. But it's rotate in a 3D manner. And you have to be very careful with it. Oh, I'm missing with that. Right, so let me see. All right, it actually feels like we are like turning something 3D. All right, so likewise, you can turn it. Right, it's kind of a 3D rotation that we are going to do. All right, and other than that, we can have this handle transformation. So like we can adjust how our transformation is happening. අපිට ඕන තැනින් අල්ලලා මෙයාව හරවන්න. වෙනවාද ඒක ටිකක් බොහොම sensitive tool එකක්. Right. It's better be very careful with it, people. And we can change the shapes. See, we can completely change. We can convert the Lamborghini into a bus, an electric bus kind of a thing, if we think on this in a proper way. Right, but be very careful when you are working with this. So here comes the transformation. Now, once you do this, you can scale it and see what really happens to the Lamborghini, right? Right, so you can try a lot of things from here, people, right? Okay, are we clear? People? Right. And yeah, those are the things which is under this tool. And I couldn't tell you about the unified transformation. Let me see what it does. Unified transforming. Let's apply the unified transforming over here. Now it's better we take something new since it has been modified. I'll try to apply it on the bike, the unified transforming. Yes. So it will allow me to like transform it in a different kind of a way. Like it has different perspectives as well. So we can manage it. And it's kind of a 3D rotation, people. Where it helps us to manage the depth as well as the width of some other components. Likewise, and press enter to apply that. Okay, so we talked about these tools, and now we are coming to the cage transform. Right, so like it's kind of a deforming selection, right? So it may change the picture. So let's take a new picture. What we can take over here. Let's take this frog. Okay. So the cage transforming, let's experience how it happens. I have select the cage transforming and I have marking a selection. Okay. Now will this help us to transform? Yes. You see that? So the selection will transform accordingly. All right. I wonder what will happen when we press enter to this. Let's see. Okay, I have done some changes and I'm going to press enter. Yeah. So it's not a different picture. It's the same picture. Now we got two-headed frog kind of things. So cage transforming will do a selection and then it will allow you to change only the selection. right? And let's see what happens with the wrap transformation. Oh, it's not allowing me to do the selection. Hold on. Yeah, let me go through that and see what's really going on. It's not working over here. Ah, yeah, there you go. Can you see there are some differences going on over here at the edges of the picture, right? So it actually deforms, yes. Right, so it works with different colors. That's what it does. Right, මෙතන තැඹිලි පාටයි කොළ පාටයි වෙන වෙන edges වල ඒගොල්ලෝ deform වෙන එක හරි ලස්සනට පෙන්නනවා. See? That's what called the deforming. Right? Now the frog looks like a blurry frog. Did you get that, people? Okay, so I talked about the bucket fill and the gradient earlier, so I'm not going to go there. And here we have some different kinds of brushes. To work with the brushes, I'm going to take my empty canvas because I can take a lot of colors into this, right? So I'll take the paintbrush. So when I take the paintbrush under the properties, right over here, you can select what kind of a paintbrush that you are going to choose. There are different kinds of paintbrushes with different kinds of patterns. So I have selected a dot. So with the dot, I can just draw the lines from the paintbrush. And if I change this into any other pattern, if I change into this small orange ball, it's going to draw me that pattern, right? So if I increase the size, I can increase the size of the brush using here, over here from the size, as well as using my square brackets, right? Square brackets will, the right square bracket will increase the size and the left square bracket will decrease the size. So with this size, look at what happens. See? So this brush performs a pattern. So if we choose a different pattern, even we can choose some things that we have done. See, our dog is over here. So we can brush it as a dog. The selections that we have made, they have automatically taken as a brush. Right? So whatever you have brushed, you can erase as well. Right? So even for an eraser, it is having a pattern as well, because like the brush, we can use the eraser to make the patterns as well. Right? So now this eraser is patterned with that doggy. Right? So likewise, we can use the brush to do a different kinds of brushing. And pencil, it's also have the ability of having different kinds of things. So pencil is different. Can you see? I'm trying to draw a straight line from the pencil. It's not allowing me to draw it if I drag it quickly. It's kind of a missing things. But if I put the paintbrush, if I drag it quickly, it does not discontinue. It continues somehow. Right? So there is not much difference in between brush and the pencil. Some options are different in their in those brush and the pencil tools. If you take an airbrush, that gives you a different coloring path. All right, so airbrush is kind of a spray. So if you are going to keep spraying to a one particular place, it will give you the true color. But if you just adjust it, it is giving you the spraying effect. It's just one. So if I go through it again and again, so it will give me the hard color or the true color of it. But if I go here and there, it's going to be a spray. All right, and ink, it's something similar to the brush and the pencil, but the pointing is much flatter. And from the ink, we can draw continuous lines. Api mouse එකෙන් කොච්චර වේගෙන් යනදත් එයා Yep, some communication error has happened. So yeah, like when we use the ink or the ink tool, it will allow us to draw as continuous as we want. Right, so I have erased this portion and I'm taking the ink tool. Look at this. I'll change my color to somewhere like green. So see, it doesn't matter how hard that I'm going to drag my mouse, it's not going to discontinue. Earlier, the pencil, brush, both the things were discontinuing. So we can draw it like that. So any particular drawing stuff is going to be different, and you can change your kind of paint brushes as well. Right, it has a collection of it. Let me choose something. It's not allowing me to brush. Oh, maybe. Yes. It's giving me different kinds of pencil stroke where I can't see them. Right? You may test those things out. Right, so that is regarding the paint brushes and the pencils. Right, and you experience how the eraser works, and you can change the eraser size and make it bigger, and you can do the erasing in a much effective manner. Right, and if you want to erase a whole picture, you can do the erasing. Like even for this kind of a picture, you can do the erasing, right? Like this. Let me select the layer, and you can erase it like this. Right, so it will erase the colors. right? And why this bird's head is not being erased? Because it is a different layer that we have. Now we are working on the bottom layer. This bird head is on this particular layer, right? So we can use it for our representation, and we can have some different kinds of creations using the eraser as well. Likewise. Right, and this is what you call the healing tools, the clone tools, right? That's another interesting tool that we're going to learn. I'm going to have another picture. I take my cat, right? So like under this healing tool, there are three tools: clone, perspective clone, and healing. So first I'm taking the clone tool. Now clone tool will help me to copy the exact thing without selecting, without having a selection, right? It's kind of having a selection, but not the selection that we have done earlier. Now look at this. I'm going to increase the size of the selection. All right, so using the size over here. Now it will create a size. I need to reduce this like it set to the cat's face. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my control button, which will allow me to take the copy to be cloned, right? So I will press the control button, and you can see there's a small difference happening with the mouse pointer. So I press it and I click on the left mouse button. So my clone is set. And I'm taking my clone tool away. You can see the selection now lies on the cat's face. I'm taking my selection over here and I do a single click. Look at that. So it can clone the pattern I choose anywhere it wants. Likewise, right? That's one thing that we can do from the clone tool. And without clicking in here and there, look what happens when I click and drag the things. Now my selection is over here. I'm going to be aligned with the same alignment. I'm going to maintain the same alignment. And I click, then I drag. Look at that. You are going to create a clone of this cat right beside it. Right, so it's like we are having two cats now, one onto the other. Simple as that. Is that clear, people? So that's what you can do with the clone tool. Right, so making a clone. But you have to be very careful when you are doing this. අපි එක colors බලන්න ඕනේ, right? ඒක හරිම විදිහට කරගන්න ඕනේ. සහ දැන් මම දැන් එක සැරයක් clone කළ ඉවර වෙලා if I'm going to clone it again, then it's going to ruin my artwork. So you have to do it at once. මම මේ පැත්තෙනුත් තව පූසෙක්ව හදනවා නම් මගේ alignment එකටම ඇවිල්ලා I can create one. Likewise. Right, so that's the capability of the clone tool, and it's a very nice tool when we need to duplicate things without harming the original picture, right? And I'll quickly go through the healing tool, right? To do the healing tool, I'm taking the I'm going to take I'll take this hedgehog. Yeah, so like healing tool will help us to manage the colors, like it will help us to mix the colors without giving any color differences, right? Something like this, right? So I'm going to select first. I need to clone it from somewhere, so I'm going to let's say I'm going to clone it from the sheet over here where the hedgehog is. So I press the let me take the healing tool. I press the control and take the healing. So my healing works comparing to this, but it's not actually a cloning, like a rough cloning. So this will help me to clone it according to my environment. මම clone කරන තැන තියෙන colors ටිකට සාපේක්ෂව එයා ඒ colors change කරගන්නවා. Look at this. See? And if I go with the green, it does not go with the blues. It's just manage the green according to the colors. Earlier, it was not the case.
Daddy, is that a hedgehog?
Yes, that is a hedgehog. Right?
Daddy, are hedgehogs actually in our world?
Yes, Suzu. Hedgehog is a real animal.
And are they spiky?
Oh, yes, they have spikes.
Yikes! Look at the bottom. It's so cool. It's so fuzzy.
Of course it is.
We can only touch the fuzzy part. Not the spike of it.
Oh, yes.
Or else you will get blood out sticking out of your finger.
Oh, yes. People, can you see the pattern of the this blanket has taken into the this green color grasses or the trees over there, right? But not it's not harming the colors, the shadings, but it makes the pattern.
Daddy, can I watch?
Got the idea, people? Wait, Susu. Yes, everyone? Did you got the point?
Can you say something for me?
Wait, Susu, after the class. Right, great.
Check.
Okay, so we have went on so many tools in the GIM. So we have small other tools to go on. So we are going on those things by next week since the time is up. So meanwhile, give it a try, people. Have some colors, have some pictures from the internet, and try to blend those things with the things that we have learned today. Do experiments. It's up to you to find things, find new things in here, right? So by next week, I'm going to do the rest of the tools, and I'm taking you to the Vectorian Geoto, which is an animation tool, to show you how to do an animation too, right? So thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to end the session from here just for today, and we'll see you tomorrow, not tomorrow, in next week for the very same time. Thank you very much, everyone.
Daddy,
Have a
make
very
it
nice
best.
weekend.
It's gone.